So, Anurag, take us to Annapurna.
So yeah,
How do you feel talking about it though?
Oh, great. I mean, no trauma.
It's not, no. Okay, wonderful.
So yeah, it was my first 8,000 meter peak after doing all of these 6,000ers, 7,000ers, technical mountains. I think I was ready for a big 8,000 meter, and Annapurna was my first 8,000 meter peak.
Why over Everest and all the other options?
Oh, I mean, it's the most deadliest mountain, and if it has to be my first one, it has to be Annapurna.
So, why do you want to do the deadliest one first?
Oh, why not? If I can do Annapurna, then I can do pretty much any mountain on the planet. That was my simple idea. That if I can do Annapurna, I can do any mountain. What is more difficult than Annapurna? So straightforward answer. Was
Eat that frog mindset. Like, do the hardest, toughest
the
one
hardest
first.
you know. If you can do that, then you are ready for anything else in the life.
So, when you decided to do that, what was the conversation like with family?
I just tell my parents I'm going to climb mountains. It's not what mountain, and they don't know anything about the mountains,
Okay.
Now everyone knows about Annapurna, but I'm like, Everest, I'm telling them I will do Annapurna, Everest, Lhotse, and Makalu, and blah, blah, blah. Okay.
But aren't they familiar with the conditions there? Like, we've seen it in movies. Everest, the movie.
Yeah. I mean, but no one knows Annapurna in detail or, a lot of specific details about Annapurna in particular. For them, it's just one other mountain. Yeah.
Okay.
I know that for sure.
Yeah.
But they don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, once you decided to go for Annapurna and you reached the base camp, what was your training like leading up to Annapurna?
So for me, training for mountains always happens in mountains. When I'm on the ground, I can work on my cardiovascular endurance, running. But my real training always happened in Ladakh, in mountains itself. So I kind of always moved my base to Ladakh. I started spending a lot of my time there in morning hours, training, going for hikes, 3,500 meters, and always go and touch 4,000 meter. So that's what my everyday routine was. Start and gain 600 meters, gain every day, and come back. And if I need to do a lot more, go up, come back, and then go up again, and then come back. So that my body is able to, gain a lot of altitude every day. So I wanted to position myself in that environment so that my body knows what it takes to exert, what it takes to train in that environment if I have to live in the mountains for a long time for these expeditions, 2 months. So my training was always in Ladakh, winter climbing and then trekking and then, just every day training there, spending time in the mountain with my backpack, always, carrying like at least 20 to 25 kgs in the backpack. And then up and down. So that was my routine really, spending at least 4 to 5 hours in the morning. Start like 6 a.m. if it is too cold, 7 a.m. and then come back by 11 or 12 and then like get ready for the work rest of the day.
Okay. And when you reached the base camp, what was the feeling like?
Great. It was lovely, beautiful base camp actually Annapurna has. It's not very high. It's close to 4,200 or 300. It's a very low altitude base camp. Not like Everest, not in 5,300 or 5,500. Very low, 4,200 meters and very beautiful base camp. Yeah, it was good. Like everyone was gathered there. We had a lot of fun time.
Were you going to climb with oxygen or without oxygen?
Oh, I was climbing with oxygen.
Okay.
I would never climb Annapurna without oxygen as my first ever 8,000 meter. I'm not ready for that. So for me, it was always very clear when I decided to do Annapurna that I'll climb with oxygen. I was initially considering Manaslu also. That I would have climbed without oxygen. That was my plan for Manaslu without oxygen. But for Annapurna, I would never risk that. Knowing it's also the deadliest and difficult, but at the same time, it's Annapurna. I'll
There
never
were,
risk.
and there were so many articles, some of them really good ones also, but some of them mentioning stuff like this that,
Yeah. All of these rumors were there during that
Yeah.
time. Oh, I was climbing without oxygen. No, I
without
was not.
oxygen, because on the morning Anurag found out that Baljit is climbing without oxygen, so he decided at the last minute to climb without. It just
No.
yeah,
All of these are false
Rumors.
claims and rumors. No one spoke to me. I was climbing with oxygen. I started using oxygen after 7,000 meter. In the last 1 kilometer stretch, 1,000 meter stretch, that's when I started using oxygen.
okay,
It's like when I'm ready for it, then I'll use it.
sure. So what was the climb like leading up to 7,000 meters? How did that go?
It was good. I mean, good climb.
Who's your Sherpa?
Dawadai, and from Darjeeling. He was recommended by my main Sherpa, Mingmadai, from Darjeeling. He recommended him, and he was a very strong, good Sherpa. And he actually got frostbite on our way to climb to the summit. He already got frostbite. And unfortunately, he also had a little amputation in his toe.
Okay.
Because of the frostbite.
Same climb.
Yeah, same climb. And I was okay during that time, but he got, and then I think he had little amputation there. It was a lovely climb, from base camp to rotations to the higher camps, and then further to the summit push. We started on one of the days, I don't know, April 15th or so. I think we started on April 15th for the summit push, from Camp 4, then going to the summit. And I think in afternoon around 1 o'clock, I was 150 meters below the summit. And it was too late in that afternoon for me to reach the summit. It would have taken me another 3 hours, 3.5 hours to reach the last 150 meters to reach the summit. And then Chepaldai said, it'll be too late for you to reach there. By the time you'll return back, it's just too late and dangerous. You'll put your life at risk and your Sherpa's also life at risk. So the best thing I could have done during that time and that decision I took was like, okay, let's descend down. I'll make another attempt after a couple of days when there is a good weather window and then when I can climb faster.
Right.
So that was my plan. Let's do it 4 or 5 days later whenever there is a good weather window. So we started descending down. We reached back the Camp 4 around 5 p.m. or so. I just met the Baljit who is starting from Camp 4 for her summit push without oxygen. So I met her, we greeted, exchanged, say hello and all of that. She said, take care of yourself. I was very tired, all of that. And we came back and had quick dinner and then I slept. Next morning we woke up on 16th. Yeah, this was 16th night. We slept next morning on 17th April.
And you were at Camp 4?
Camp 4. We woke up Camp 4 and in the morning we pushed for Camp 3 quickly, 2 hours. And we quickly reached Camp 3 करीब 10-10:30 बजे के आसपास. And then from Camp 3 we were on our way to Camp 2. And our plan was to have hot lunch at, Camp 2 once we reach. So we are not carrying a lot of food or, apples or water and a lot of these things. Because थोड़ी देर में तो पहुंच ही जाएंगे, we'll reach the Camp 2 and we'll have a good hot meal there. Suddenly at one point while crossing, between Camp 3 and Camp 2, that's also known as the most dangerous section of Annapurna. I mistakenly picked the wrong rope.
What makes it the most dangerous section?
Because of the avalanches. Okay. Every 30 minutes there are avalanches that keeps coming up there. So that's what makes it very difficult.
Okay.
And a lot of seracs and just very difficult terrain that is.
Okay.
So I was crossing that.
But how were you? So when you returned back from 150 meters from summit, you went to Camp 4 and slept.
Yeah.
So whatever fatigue and everything that was there, you would have eased off by the next.
Thoda to. Yeah. I mean, we were continuously walking for what? 18-20 hours. So fatigue is still there. It's at this high altitude, fatigue doesn't go away right away, Even like, what do you sleep in the high altitude? Hardly you get sleep, first of all. So fatigue doesn't go overnight, couple of nights, good sleep at a lower altitude. Then only you will like release all that fatigue. So वो तो हमेशा रहेगा. In high altitudes, you need to be ready to experience that kind of fatigue for good stretch. Good stretch, couple of days, not just couple of days, maybe sometimes for weeks. Because you are staying at like above 6,000 meter, 5,000 meter all this while.
Yeah.
So that's a high altitude. You don't have a good sound sleep there,
For sure.
So,
Yeah, even in races that happen in Ladakh, people who get during the race, the blood oxygen goes down and they get AMS. They are, that's what they say, the only solution is to take you down.
yeah, take you
आपको
down.
नीचे जाना
descend
पड़ेगा
down.
और कुछ नहीं है. So cool. So between camp 4 and camp 3, how are you feeling? Little less fatigued.
नहीं
You're
आराम
fine.
से फटाफट से आ गए. It doesn't take long.
Yeah.
It's a simple, straightforward route, not very difficult.
And then between 3 and 2.
Between 3 and 2 is where I'm suddenly at one point I mistakenly picked the wrong rope. It was too short. And basically it was tied from one end, but the other end was open.
But why were they 2 in the first place?
First of all, that rope shouldn't have been there. And when the Sherpas are fixing the ropes, they should remove that rope. And I think that was the mistake. That rope shouldn't have been there, which was there.
Right. Because I've seen that photo and I've seen that video as
Yeah.
well. Right.
Oh,
In which-
I haven't seen the video. If
you
you can
haven't?
share, no.
So in which, I don't know whether this was your Sherpa or a fellow climber.
Yeah, I think it was
who was-
Moses. I've heard about this video. I think it was Moses, the Brazilian climber, who recorded something.
Right. They're screaming your name. They're
Yes.
saying hello, hello. Yeah, I've seen that
Yeah,
video.
I haven't seen it. I would love to see it if you have it. Yeah,
It's on one of the articles. I'll find it and give it to you.
please.
So
I've
yeah.
seen the photo though of the rope
Right.
that was too short.
Yeah.
And they were screaming that, I'm making a mistake, but I obviously couldn't hear anything in the mountain. There's strong winds and you didn't hear anything. And and in fraction of seconds, gravity is there pulling you.
Yeah.
Bas, ho gaya. Us time pe 300 meter fall and then 80 meters from the icy surface to the crevasse, inside the crevasse. And and I was there for 3 days and 3 nights. And then on 4th day, the rescue team, both these Polish climbers, Adam Marius and the team of Sherpas that came together to recover my body. And they were there to recover my body and retrieve my body. And but then they found me alive. So then quickly the body recovery mission turned into a rescue mission.
Right.
And फिर तो बस एयरलिफ्ट करके कैसे भी बाहर निकाला from these avalanche prone slopes of Annapurna this time. Sobit, जो helicopter pilot थे, उसके लिए बहुत difficult था. It was very difficult to fly there.
Right.
He didn't land the plane, just place the skis, the front skis on the, slopes, and then quickly airlifted me from there and took me to Pokhara. That's where I was given CPR. That lasted for 4 hours. And then, I took my first breath. And then I was quickly airlifted from Pokhara to Kathmandu, where I was treated for 21 days. Yeah. Then was airlifted again from Kathmandu to AIIMS in Delhi. And then rest 6 months there. So almost 7 months of journey in the hospital, undergoing almost 9 surgeries. And and then in the month of November, I was, out of the hospital. So that's kind of, the whole journey.
If you enjoyed watching this little clip, you will love the full video. Click here now to watch it.